Hello, hello, and good evening, everybody. This is day one of the Choose Your Own Adventure series. So, a series of 3 lives coming directly to you about exactly what it says on the tin. How to choose your own adventure life. So, if you are watching this live right now, please do say hello. It's lovely to know who is here with me. And if you're watching this on the replay, please say hello on the replay as well. That would be absolutely wonderful. And as always, whenever I come on into this space and offer a live here for you, I really appreciate and really invite your engagement. Yeah, I'd love to know what comes up for you as I speak, any thoughts, any realizations, anything that you would like to share, any questions as well are all absolutely welcome. So, choose your own adventure. Sounds good, doesn't it? So, what is a choose your own adventure life? When I was a little girl, when I was just a little girl, I used to be obsessed with, I was a pure geek when I was little and didn't realize how cool it was to actually be a pure geek at that point. But it was my nature and it still is. And one of the things that I absolutely adored was those choose your own adventure books. They were so popular then. And they were mainly of the fantasy genre, kind of Dungeons and Dragons. And I love the fact that you'd reach a certain page and you'd have to choose. Yeah? Do you turn to page 17 in order to go through that door? Or do you... Ooh, sorry, just pressed something I shouldn't have pressed there. Or do you turn to page 24 and avoid that door and keep walking along the corridor and so on? And you do this until either you finished and completed whatever the task was, or, as most of the time happened, you'd end up dead somehow. You'd make a wrong choice that led you to your demise. But what was amazing was that you just went back to the beginning again. That wasn't the end of the book. You went back to the beginning and made different choices. And you could make countless different choices and have all these different adventures depending on how you felt in that particular time. And I've always loved these to the point of, certainly in the last decade, in my adult life, I've also acquired 2 new kinds of choose your own adventure books, which are much more of the adult variety. One of these, the first one I got was about a zombie apocalypse in New York, totally up my street. It even had a kind of Stanley cameo in there. So a choose your own adventure book based in New York, all about zombies, bloody brilliant. And then one I got just a few years ago, which is an erotic choose your own adventure about this woman somewhere in America who goes to work in this kind of sex shop, and she has to make choices about various customers that come in and various exploits that she could have. Juicy and yummy. So this love of choose your own adventure has been a companion for me through most of my life. And I've had this real pure fascination around living a choose your own adventure life. And every single part of that just lights me up. The fact that you get to choose, that is really interesting. And this life of adventure, what does that even mean to us? So this is what we're going to explore. We're going to start today. There's going to be another session tomorrow and then another session on Friday. And I'm really excited. So if you are here now watching this live, do say hello. It's lovely to know who's here. If you're watching this on the replay, do say hello then as well. Okay, so let's just start from the very beginning. which is, what does it mean to have a choose your own adventure life? What does it mean to you? So you might want to take a moment to really think about and feel into, what does a choose my own adventure life mean to me? What would it look like? Where would I be? What would I be doing? How would that feel? Who would I be with? What would I be wearing, eating? Is there particular music I'd be listening to? What's the weather like? How am I feeling in my heart? So you might want to just jot down in the comments. It'd be really fun just to play this. And obviously you can take this away and think about this a little bit longer. But what does a choose your own adventure life mean to you? What would it mean to you? And maybe it's one that you know about because you've dreamt about it, or you desire, or you're working towards. Maybe it's the life you're in right now, in which case that's really beautiful to really reflect and feel into the embodiment of this in this moment. Okay, a choose your own adventure life. So when we do this, what it means is that we're living a life that essentially is ours. It's a life that's ours. It's our own vision. It has deep meaning to us. Other people might not get it or understand it, but it feels right. It fits. One of the things that's really interesting when we start to live our choose your own adventure life, and this has really blindsided me in a way as a kind of incredible benefit that I didn't realize until I started to really live my life in this way, was how incredibly peaceful it feels to live this life. Really didn't expect that. There's a sense of knowing that this is what it's meant to be. Even though I might not have a clue what's about to happen next, even if I don't even know where the next step is to go, even if it's the first time you've let go of the control button around things, it feels deeply peaceful. And if we're honest, every single one of us, we might desire all sorts of different things, and I'm sure we do because we're human and desire is part of our makeup. But one of them, probably the strongest desires we have, is peace. To feel a deep sense of peacefulness, a sense of well-being in our own self and wherever we are in the world, no matter who we're with or what we're doing or what events come and go in our life. Because as we all know, life is unpredictable, it's uncertain, it's ever changing, ever constant. That's just life's job. That's what it does. So to have that sense of innate peace in ourselves is profound, deeply, deeply profound. But living a choose your own adventure life is also exciting. It's enlivening. It makes us want to jump out of bed in the morning, looking forward to whatever the day will bring. It's a life that it can feel very pleasurable. It can feel very juicy. I always talk about an erotic life, not as a life full of sexual exploits, though that might be part of your choose your own adventure, absolutely. But it's a sense of a fullness of presence in what we're doing, an engagement, an embodied engagement as we move through our days. So this sense of fullness comes with a choose your own adventure life. A sense of presence comes with a choose your own adventure life. A sense of miracles happen. Spontaneities become more common. The unexpected, being surprised, opportunities just landing in our lap, just out of seemingly nowhere. This sense of just almost like this childlike wonder at the magic that is available and possible to us, because we know that this is the adventure that we have chosen, we have signed up for, and that we're taking those steps. Does that sound good? Let me know if that sounds good. And also, you might want to share, as I've said, a little bit about what does your choose your own adventure look or feel like or mean to you. Yeah, I really encourage you, if that's okay, to share into this space as well. It's really lovely to have that sense of interaction when I do these sharings as well. Hello, gorgeous. Oh, see, that sounds like a choose your own adventure. Sitting in the garden. It's a nice evening, isn't it? Eating dinner and a wine. Oh, I'm going to have a glass of wine later. Hello, babe. Mwah. Sending you lots of love, sweetheart. Okay, now, the thing is, once you have a sense of or feel into, and it might be that you're not sure. Now, I have to say something about this, because there's all this stuff, isn't there, about go out and follow your bliss and follow your dreams and just go for what you want. And I know that I contribute to that because that is the work that I do. It's how I am walking my talk in my own life more and more and more these days. But it can be that if we've not ever done that, then when someone asks us, what are your dreams? Or what do you desire? What is this adventure? What does an adventurous life mean to you? It might be that we don't know the answer. We don't know. And rather than that being something like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? Or I feel ashamed of that, or I've got to think of something even if it's not mine. It's a really powerful place to be. To be in a place of, I don't know actually what a choose your own adventure life for me would look or feel like, because I've never actually asked myself. I've been taking care of this, my family, my children, my relationship, my business, other responsibilities, caring for my parents, having to be here, there and everywhere. I've never had the opportunity or the space to even reflect upon this. Maybe no one's even asked you that question. So I'm asking you that question. And if the answer, the real honest answer, when you allow that to sink in is, I actually don't know, then stay with that. Stay with that in a place of curiosity. I don't know. I wonder what would that be for me? I wonder. It's a very graceful place to stay and live in. However, for those of us that kind of know what this life would look like or feel like, my question to you now is, why haven't you taken those steps towards that? If there's something that you really want, something that you dream of, something you desire to create, to build, whatever that is, it could be offerings, it could be a business, it could be a relationship, it just could be a way of being in the world. What has stopped you from taking those steps, from beginning? Or maybe you've started a few times and you've stopped and turned away from that. Yeah? Maybe you've been disappointed, maybe there was rejections, maybe it felt like, fucking hell, this isn't working, nothing is happening, I'm working so hard, there's so much effort, what the fuck is the point? And you just decide it's not for me. I'm obviously not meant to be doing this. I can't do this. It's what I'm just going to let it go. And it just kind of then lingers, and maybe that the ouch of not continuing that or letting that go maybe has stayed, you know? It's kind of there, but it's got a bit of a soreness to it. So you can think about, well, why haven't I gone for this, whatever this is? What's been stopping me? And it can be anything. It could be from those things I've said. I've had all these other responsibilities. I don't have the time. I have a very busy and important role that I'm doing in the workplace that I just don't have any capacity left available to me. I don't have the resources. This will take time that I don't have available to me, or this will take a lot of money that I never have had so far. Whatever it is, your reason is valid. And in that, there could be other reasons like, well, I'm scared to do it. That's massive. I'm scared to have a go at this because what if it doesn't work? What if it fails? What if I make a fool of myself? What if I invest all of this time, money, energy, attention, or resources, and it just doesn't work? Make a massive mistake, make a fool out of myself. What if I get laughed at? What if I get rejected? What if this is just going to disappoint others? Because what will they say if I'm suddenly shifting towards doing this? There are so many reasons why we don't turn towards that, taking the first step towards this choose your own adventure life. Yeah, so I'd be really curious to know if there's anything that arises for you automatically when you hear that being asked. So I just want to share a little bit of my own, just a little brief of my own story here of it's only recent years that I've started to do this. And I even have to say, it's probably only in the last few months since my trip away to Asia. That trip, wow, I thought that was going to be one thing. And then it actually was something completely different altogether. It happens that a lot, doesn't it? We expect this is what we're going to get out of something. And actually what we get out of it is very, very different. And it happened to me and it shook me up in lots of ways. And the outcome, though, out the other side of that, was I realized that I wasn't fully walking my talk. I wasn't fully living my own choose, my own. I wasn't turning that page that I wanted to turn to in my own life. I was kind of reading the book, you know. I was making choices, but I wasn't fully in with both feet in the willingness to make choosing my own adventure the big vision, the absolute and utter committed yes. For a lot of those reasons, mainly I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought I was meant to focus on this instead. So a lot of stories and beliefs that I had to meet, a lot of identities in me I had to meet, until I realized I'd run out of my excuses. And I saw the impact that was having now at the age of 51 and a half, the half is very important, of not choosing my own adventure. The sense of I'm wasting the rest of my life. Yeah, I have a rich life, a blessed life, very full life in so many areas. And yet this one thing that's been there forever for me, I wasn't fully turning to that and going, I choose you. I choose you. I don't have to know anything else other than that. I choose you. And since I have decided to choose my own adventurous life in the ways what that means to me, the commitment to that, I am experiencing a very different way of being in the world. And I'll explain more about that over the next few days. And I can't tell you enough of how life-changing and fulfilling and satisfying and exciting and peaceful and profoundly quiet in a way, as well as deeply magical it is to live in this way. So let me know, does that sound good to you? I think it sounds good to me. And I have no fucking idea what's going to happen, but it doesn't matter. And that's very profound. It doesn't matter because I'm living this now. And actually the outcome doesn't matter. But the outcome is what was part of the reason why I never fully committed. I needed to know the outcome. I needed a guarantee. I wanted to know what's going to happen. I was worried if I didn't get this result, then it would be a failure. In a way now that actually is completely irrelevant. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I thought I'd be a bit playful with this live today. So this live I've called Why Alignment is the Number One Key to Living a Creative Life. A life of freedom, a life of choosing your own adventure, a life of juiciness, turn on, pleasure, magnetism, possibilities, magic, soul, all of the bloody good stuff. And what I thought I'd do is I would use 5 areas of life, 5 things that you might be considering as part of your own adventure. Okay, so the first one is we're going to take the example of building something, you know, and I'm going to use the example of a house, and I'm going to use the example of a house as a kind of metaphor for something that's going to take our energy and our effort, maybe our hands to create. Okay, and that might be literally practically a house that you want to build. It might be a business you want to build. It might be a service you want to build. It might be a home, the kind of family you want to build, community, anything you might want to actually build. Okay, so this one might resonate for you. And yeah, so if that does, let me know if there's something that you've always wanted to build. Maybe it's a community, maybe it's opportunities for others, maybe it's a charity. Yeah, maybe it's a I don't know, whatever it might be. Okay, so that's one. We're going to use these 5 examples. The second one is perhaps it's a relationship that you would like. Yeah, a relationship. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? For my own experiences these days, hell no. Okay, so maybe you want a relationship. Okay, you're ready. Your heart is asking for that. You want a relationship. Okay, intimate relationship, and whatever that might look like. Because let's face it, these days we can have a relationship in any way that we want to have a relationship. A lot of those traditional models are falling away. The third example we're going to work with is an actual trip, somewhere you want to go. Yeah, it could be a holiday, it could be something longer, like the 3 months that I had away in Asia. It could be a longer trip. Maybe you want to take your kids and your family and go off for a year somewhere and live a different life in a different place. Hiya, Dave. Oh, good to see you, lovely. Good. Write this down. Also, just to say here, and I will remind everybody, if you're not signed up to receive the replays, just let me know if you want replay. You can, if you want the recordings, you might just want to write recording or just message me, and I will make sure you are, so that you then get the recordings, because these will come down after some time. I'm not sure when, but they won't be up for long, these. So yeah, it could be a relationship. Okay, no, it could be a trip somewhere. Okay, a journey, going off an adventure, whatever that is. So it's an actual adventure that we might think of in that way. That's the third one. The fourth one might be around stepping into leadership. Okay, maybe it's about how do I step up at work into leadership, into the role. Maybe that opportunity is there. Maybe it's something you'd really like to put yourself forward to. Yeah, maybe there's promotion opportunities, but you've always been a bit about doing that because you don't necessarily know if you've been ready. Or perhaps it's your own company or whatever it is that you're starting that you'd really like to step into being a leader. Yeah, and taking on that mantle of leader. Another way we could look at leadership is very simply, it might be about how do I craft my own life? How do I become a leader of my own life? How do I lead myself in my own life? That's a powerful way to look at leadership. Am I a leader of my own life? Even that is an interesting question, isn't it? Am I a leader of my own life or am I not? Okay, so that's the fourth example we're going to work with today. And then the last example is how many of you that might be listening to this here can relate to, is about a project, a creative project. Yeah, it might be writing your book. It might be, so I'm having a menopausal flush right now. It might be, painting a series. It might be creating an album. It might be a dance piece. It might be going to create some performance, spoken word pieces. Might be, again, the project might be a business that you're actually wanting to set up, a series of workshops that you're leading, festival you want to create, whatever your project might be. So we've got house, we've got relationship, a trip, an actual journey, we've got leadership, and we've got project. Okay, I'm sure there's plenty more, but we'll work with those 5 as examples. So let me know if any of those, there might be a few, there might be one, that feels very resonant for you. See people at the 4-way stop who are looking for a relationship. Yeah, 4-way. 4-way stop? Not quite sure what you mean by that. Explain a bit more if you can. Okay, now, when we are not in... Okay, so actually I need to say this first. In order to really live your choose your own adventure, and the clue is in the title of this, we need to be in alignment. It's the first step. Full stop. Yes, radical responsibility. Yes, that actually is going to come up in this, darling. So you've got that. Inspiration wraps back to one, building to make a leap. Yeah. Yeah. Good, great. This is great, and thank you for your engagement. This is it's good. You know, any questions, let me know, and it's really lovely. A trip for you through your list. Okay, so adventure, brilliant. Okay. So, and for me at the moment, I would say it's around, if I look at all of those ones that I've just said, what one would be for me? A few of those, I suppose, but I would say leadership. I've been really exploring that a lot more, been reading a lot of stuff, been doing some work with that with a company that I work with around leadership and women in business, which is really exciting, and changing what that means and so on. But that's a whole other side story. Also in my own work and in my own life, leading myself in my own life as well. I'm really curious about this now. So, alignment is the thing that we need in order to even get going with any of these things. Oh, always stopped intersection. Wow, all these words. Learning something new every day. Thank you. Now, if we are not in alignment, let's start with there first. If we are not in alignment, what does that mean for each of these? Let's look at them all. I think it's always good to use analogies and examples because it helps us to understand. So let's start with we're building a house. If we are not in alignment when we're building a house, yeah, and it's not, so we're going to say like the house itself, we're starting, we're putting foundations in. If those foundations are not in alignment, they're not straight, they're not clear, they're not, exactly right, and these are the foundations, they go underneath the surface, no one sees these. If they're not right, they're slightly out of alignment, then you're going to build a house that's also not in alignment when it goes up. And what that can mean is, obviously, it's not going to be very safe. It's not going to be sustainable. It's probably going to have lots of things that go wrong that we're going to have to, again, invest our resources, our precious resources in order to try and repair. It's going to eat up our money. It's probably not going to be a good investment. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of things about it that are just going to give us a massive headache. So probably it's going to become less about something that we enjoy doing as this huge thing that we're crafting and building and everybody that gets involved. And instead it's going to become something that's going to give us a massive headache and not enjoyable at all. And probably we wonder why we started, and we might even end up selling it for less than what we bought it for, let's say, because it's just wrong. Yeah, it's not correct in the very first place. We haven't got those initial alignment right in the very foundations. It's not sustainable. It will fall down. Okay? Think about anything that you might want to be building. If it hasn't got the right alignment, which is the kind of hidden part of things that we're building, people don't necessarily see that bit, it's not going to work. Okay? It's going to give us a lot of problems as we go along. We're going to have to throw a lot at it in order to try and solve that. And at the end of the day, it can't really, because the very foundations aren't okay. If we're looking at relationship next, sorry, just looking at a little bit of my notes. I don't want to forget anything here. So if we're looking at a relationship and we're not in alignment relationship, it's very possible and very probable actually that the whole time we're going to feel that something's off. Just again, doesn't feel quite right. We're not going to feel that this is a kind of, it's not really meeting us in the true sense of who we are. There's going to be we might even feel a kind of dissatisfaction in the relationship. Maybe we feel lonely, or unfulfilled, or maybe we look around us and kind of look out at the people and go, oh, I wish we had that. We kind of settle. Oh, settling is huge, isn't it? Because maybe we don't want to be our own. There's a kind of fear of we'll take an unaligned relationship rather than be on our own. I think if we're not saying you watching this here now, but if we look around, I think there's a lot of people that stay in unaligned relationships and settle because they'd rather do that than be on their own and find their own alignment and possibly find somebody who matches that, or simply enjoys their life when they're living in their own alignment as well. Okay, it's a really big thing. And that can affect our confidence, in relationship. And this can be, I talk about intimate relationship. This is what we're talking about in a way. But any relationship, could be friendships we have or the people we surround ourselves with. If they're out of alignment to who we are, they won't nourish us. Relationships should feel nourishing. They should feel as something that gives to us as much as we give to them. They're part of how we feed ourselves, our soul. They're part of how we grow through life, how we're supported. Our relationships are vital, aren't they? Whether they're intimate or not. Also, and just touching upon this is a whole other realm, but we're not going to explore this today in here. But sexually, if we're not in alignment with somebody, it's very much guaranteed, though there's a whole other bit here as well around just the kind of, biological aspect, but we're probably not going to have the best sex in the whole world. And when I say that, I don't mean the kind of just the physical feeling. I'm talking about the depth of emotional connection and intimacy that all of us really desire in life. If that a true alignment isn't there, and it's a heart alignment when we think about relationships, whether it's friendship or it's a partner, then we're actually selling ourselves short. We're not actually receiving that which we are kind of looking for in a way when we get into a relationship. Joanne says, yeah, I know this one. Yeah, I know. Very, it's a strong one, isn't it? And over time that can build resentment, can't it? We start to kind of blame the other person or see, oh, there's stuff, you should be doing that. Why aren't you behaving like this? You need to change this. I mean, God knows I've been in that before in relationships, and it's okay, there could be aspects of it there, but on another level, it could simply be because this person isn't aligned to you. You're not aligned to them, So just wanting to put that one in there about relationships. If we go on to the third example I've got about going on like a trip, an adventure, a journey, packed our suitcases, our rucksacks, and we're not in alignment, on a very simple level, we're going to get very lost. Yeah, or we're going to end up going somewhere we don't really want to be. It's not quite right, which is a shame, especially if it's a holiday that we've booked time off work for. We've saved up money, it's these things can be pricey. We've been looking forward to for ages. We think it's going to be this, that, and the other. We want to relax. We could actually end up being more exhausted and stressed out than before we went away. So this is something that, and it can end up being a frustrating experience again. We can end up missing out. We can end up feeling directionless. We can end up getting ourselves into all sorts of bumbly situations when we're not in alignment. When we set off on our adventure, on a journey. I always think about setting off on a trip or an adventure as having a map and then having a compass to navigate by. So in a way, it's like the compass is slightly it's just slightly wrong. It could be just a few degrees. But if you imagine you start off, that's your alignment, and you're off by a few degrees, eventually those few degrees actually become, oh dear, it's like one of those things of patting your head and rubbing your stomach. That becomes kind of a big difference over time. We're not going in the right direction. We'll get completely lost. We waste a lot of our time again. We don't get to where we actually want to go to, our destination. When we're in alignment, when we go away, then we know what we want. We're very clear. We will find that in those places. We will notice the things in those places that actually feed us. It's the reason that we've gone to that place in the first place, or we've booked that. Everything will be geared towards bringing those opportunities to us. So we don't want to, kind of plan these big journeys and trips and not have this sense of alignment to actually what are our needs? What am I wanting? What am I needing? What am I desiring? We're not in alignment. We don't know that because we're not asking those questions. This is part of it. The other thing is, let me just have a look here. Yeah, the other thing is, this is interesting, leadership. Very interesting. Okay? When we're not in alignment, whether it's leading others, it's in a company, our own business, whether it's ourselves, if we're not in alignment, then again, something is going to be off, and we're going to feel a bit weak as a leader. We'll come across as weak, kind of not really knowing what we stand for, what we value. What this means then is, and this is very interesting, and you might have experienced this yourself, is that we're not honest. We say something, but we're not speaking our truth. This can come from the relationship one as well, but particularly in a role that demands us to step up into a leadership when others are looking to be inspired by us, to lead them. When we're not in alignment, we're not honest with ourselves. So we might pretend to be a certain leader. We might pretend to know the answers to things. We might pretend to be somebody who we're not. However, and I don't know if you've had this, people can feel that. You can feel someone who's not in their integrity, can't you? You can feel when someone's not being honest. It feels sticky. Energetically, we can feel a stickiness in the space between. And you know what that does? It breeds a lack of respect and a lack of trust. And that, let's face it, is the last qualities we'd ever want in someone who is in a position of leadership. Whether it's our own lives, whether it's our business, whether it's for a company, not to respect or to trust in that person, where does that lead everybody else? It's just absolute chaos. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's just breakable. It makes everyone feel flat. You want your leadership to be a place where people are inspired by who you are. You're leading by example. You're living, you're walking your talk. Okay, so that has a massive impact. And it takes fucking guts to have that honesty and be in that place of integrity and truth. And the difference here is that in alignment, we have to be willing to disappoint others. We have to be willing not to be liked. It's the same in any of these. We have to be clear to voice what is our truth. Obviously, not in a dickhead way, to do it in a kind and considered way. But interestingly, even though somebody might not like what we say, they will respect what we say. They will respect who we are. We will thus be trustworthy. Isn't trustworthy a powerful thing? That's why, again, going back to relationships, it can be really hard to speak something to our partner maybe that feels off, or that we're really needing that is not there, or we're going on a trip or a journey, maybe we're traveling with somebody and they want something completely different, but we'll go along with that. It's a line for them, my needs don't matter, and then we get all resentful and stuff. Or building your house and you can see it's not quite right, but you go, oh no, the construction people, they must know, they must just, I'm sure they'll correct that. When we voice our truth from that place of alignment, we risk those around us going, whoa, but it will always be the best outcome. We will feel clear. It's a good sign of alignment. And it's very likely, maybe not straight away, But further down the line, whoever we spoke that to or voiced that to will reflect back to us that actually that was really helpful, even brave. Yeah, it takes courage to live as alignment. Interesting. So the other thing is about, and this is a big one here, when we're dealing with our own creative projects, if we're not in alignment, we don't have a connection to that, like why we're doing the thing that we're doing in the first place, what it matters to us. If we don't have that, then as soon as anything comes along that is challenging, any obstacle in our way, any getting stuck or blocked or rejection or disappointment, we will give up easily. Just like that. It's not solid enough. It's not got roots. It's not anchored all the way through our very being. Doesn't then necessarily mean if we are aligned that all becomes easy and we don't have those things. What it does mean is that we don't give up on that which is truly aligned to us. We'll find creative ways to respond. We'll ask for help. We'll seek support by people that have the expertise or abilities or skills to support us. We'll learn. We'll fall down and go, okay, what can I learn from that? And we'll get back up and we'll try again. Last summer, I was blown away to read somewhere that 92% of people give up on their creative dreams or projects or businesses within the first couple of years. 92%. Whoa. Alignment gives us more gumption, more grit. I love that word, grit. To stay the course, to walk our path, to have honest conversations, to know exactly what we need, we want and desire, why it matters to us, what it means. And a lot of the time it's because this connects to a bigger vision that we have. This choose your own adventure life. It's part of this. It's part of it. It makes sense to us, not on a head level, but in every single cell of our being. How is this landing? What's coming up for you? Any questions at all? Is this making sense? I'd love to know what's dropping down here. It seems very obvious. You can start to look out at everything then in your life and see what's aligned and what's misaligned. Everything. You can walk down the street and see that. You can go into a restaurant and get a feeling of, are they aligned? Do they have this big mission statement or ethos here? And then kind of have the experience of eating there and know if this is actually, yeah, they're aligned or that something is misaligned here. You might work for a company that you can clearly see either if that's a yes or a no. There might be people or friendships in your having life that feel a bit like that. Your intimate relationship. Things that you're choosing to do with your life. Where you're putting your resources, your precious resources in your precious life. And it's not about judging anything. And it's not about going, fuck, I've got to fix everything and all of this. It's, it's kind of noticing this blueprint of alignment or it's a strange question. I'm not sure how this fits into what we're talking about. No is the answer. Yeah, it's just seeing. And also to ask yourself, honestly, am I living in alignment or not? And another way we can notice if we're not living in alignment, alongside the things I've mentioned, is whether we feel in some way we're betraying ourselves. Maybe we said yes when we meant no, no when we meant yes. That's a good way to notice if we're betraying. We're noticing that we are not actually doing the work that we really want to be doing or the project, or we've changed something because somebody else has suggested to do it this way and it's actually not quite what we want to do. There's lots of ways that we can see where we're not actually living in that place of alignment, where we're actually betraying our own selves. And that can be quite shocking and quite sobering when we notice that. But it's a really good places Because as soon as we do notice, we can go, okay, I need to get back into alignment here. So when we do come into alignment, sorry, just having a look here, we have to really get clear about these things that I've touched upon. You know, what is our big vision? Why? What does this mean to us? Why does this matter? What are my values? My values are my inner hidden guides. For me, values are almost like what's encoded in our DNA. I find them so fascinating. And the more we know those and they're clear for us, not the ones we want to, you know, we can be like, oh, I really value, let's go responsibility. You know, that was brought up here, radical responsibility. I really value taking responsibility. But then you look at your life and actually there's a lot of places where you don't. It means that you don't actually value. You like the idea of it, but you don't. It's really good to get honest with ourselves. What do I really value? I don't know. Just winging it or getting away with whatever. You know, it's fine. There's nothing to kind of beat ourselves up about. It's just getting really honest. So I want to just kind of finish with, we're going to touch upon tomorrow, okay? This is an introduction to where and how alignment comes into everything in life, everything. And how it is when we're living life out of that alignment, where we are betraying our own truth, our own self, our own integrity, how that makes us feel, where we're not listening or knowing the answers to some of these things I've said of really getting an understanding, and where we're not allowing ourselves or giving ourselves permission to use our voice, to state, to be clear, to express, to stand in literally what we stand for. And we all do it. And actually, I think part of taking radical responsibility is getting really honest with ourselves of where we're doing things that are not quite up to scratch for us. But the thing is, once we get a sense of this, we can begin to build those solid foundations for our house. We can enter into dating or relationships very clear with what it is that we are needing, and what is right for us and what isn't, what is non-negotiables. That's another part of our alignment. It means we can go on an adventure in our trip and really have a sense of what it is that we are desiring, where we want to go, why we want to go there, what we're needing from this place, what this is about, this trip, what we're going to get from this at the end of it. It means that we step into leadership in a deep place of being trustworthy, of deep respect, and that echoes out. People turn towards a leader who stands in those places and stands for what they're talking about. They inspire others. They lift other people up. Isn't that what we want from people in a position of leadership? Is that everyone can rise up into their own powers? And it means whatever we're creating, whatever creative projects, we know that we're starting them from exactly the right place. That is so who I'm meant to be, what I'm meant to be doing. That we will not give up or let it all go when it gets hard, challenging, nothing seems to be happening, because we know this is correct for who we are. This is it. And it's not up to me what's going to happen or when, my own timeline. It's the fact that I am devoted and committed. This is my vocation. Very different. It's a lot stronger. Strong. We build a sense of strength with our alignment. So in tomorrow's session, we're going to look at some of the rules of alignment, some of the key things that can help you to really get clear about how to connect into alignment with yourself, things to ask yourself, things to put in place. I call these the 7 rules of alignment. It's very exciting. That's really good fun as well. And I'm going to be doing this live tomorrow at 1 p.m. British Summer Time, 1 p.m. here. As I've said, let me know if you want me to send you the recordings, and you'll get them and you can just keep them for as long as you want to. Because these on here are only going to be here for probably just under a week. So let me know about that. But what I would like to say before we finish is the alignment part of your creative process is, as I say, it's the foundation part. It's before we build anything, before we take the trip, get into relationships, anything. It also happens to be the first program in my self-created, my trademarked creative genius coaching map. This is where we go into all of those things on a somatic and energetic as well as a very practical level. Okay, it's no point just getting the knowledge or doing some exercises. It's gotta be anchored and embodied into our own self. We've got to feel these things. So we're going to do a lot of things to help us to almost try on our values, go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into what our why is, play with our vision in ways that we haven't done so before, get really honest about what we really desire and need and want, to the point of we let ourselves go for the craziest stuff we can say. And we're also going to very tenderly and with great kindness and care explore how and where we betray ourselves in our own life, so that we can uncover the places where we're sabotaging what it is we want to create. So the Alignment Keys program starts next Wednesday. It's the second time I've run this, but I only run it once a year live. Okay, so it's the only time this is going to be live. So if you're interested, I will tell you more information over the next couple of days. But if you're curious, I will put a link down into the comments so that you can have a look. Until Saturday midnight, there's a third off the price as well at the moment. So that's there, and that's amazing. It's 3 days. Get a massive workbook. We get a private group. You get private voice coaching with me throughout those 3 days as well. So it's very, very interactive, very engaged. I'm with you every step of the way. There's an incredible community, and it's a game changer when we have this alignment really clear in our lives. And I'm really excited to do it again myself as well. Something that we can keep coming back to, because we change. What we value changes, what we need changes. Different seasons in our life changes. What we're working on next is going to be different and change as well. So it's a great place to keep returning back to. And I am super excited about sharing that program with you. So, my darlings, let me know any thoughts, anything that's come up from what I've shared today. And as I said right at the beginning, keep coming back to, what does your own choose your own adventure look like for you, feel like for you? Why is this important to you? Do you feel like you live a life of alignment? Or are you noticing already, just in this conversation, where there's places you're out of alignment, where there's some self-betraying going on? Can you be open and curious? And then tomorrow we're going to look at the 7 rules of alignment. I'm very excited about this. Thank you. Thank you so much, my darlings. And go well. If you know of anybody else who might be interested in hearing this, please let them know, or let me know, and I can send them the videos as well. And I wish you a really beautiful, wonderful evening.